What do you mean you've forgotten what the intro is?
Do you know when you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then your mind just goes... Hi, and welcome back to Slash 2. My name's Kyle.
And I'm Charlie.
And this week we're talking about casual gaming.
Yeah, so not just obviously the typical casual games that everyone thinks of. We have picked out a few from varying sort of genres, I think.
Yeah.
That we've sort of had a bit of a dick around on. Had a bit of a play, and we're going to have a bit of a natter about sort of different ways of approaching casual games. Because as we mentioned before, like, any game really can be a casual game depending on how you play it. Mm-hmm. So it's more of a look into the different ways of playing a few of these different games. And the wideness that the genre has.
Yeah. We'll start with...
Should we start at the top of our list?
No, let's start the second one down on our list.
The second one down. Bit Trip Runner. So,
this is a game that came out, 2010 to 2012? And it's like a rhythm sort of... I don't know what you describe it as, really.
It's a platformer, isn't it? It's a side-scrolling platformer.
But to a rhythm. Like, everybody's played Bit Trip. And if you haven't...
I didn't until today.
Go inside, log on to Steam, and shut it up and let it take your money. And play it. It's worth it. It's fun. Really easy to pick up. The controls are okay. Bear in mind, we played almost all these games that we're talking about now on Steam controllers.
Yeah.
Not trying to shill Papa Valve or anything, but... their big screen support and controller support for games like that is absolutely stellar. Yeah,
it took us a little while to get it working. We had some trouble.
Because my rig that we've hooked up to the TV to play all these games on has not been ran in 6 months. Yeah, so he turned it on and it was just like, all the updates, please. It's like Google Chrome, it wants all your RAM.
It's a Bit Trip. Now, I'd never played this before. This was my first time playing it. Yeah, I mean, we only played for about 5 minutes.
Many swears were said.
Many swears. Many swears. As a couple of these games ended up leading to. Pretty simple once I figured out what the buttons were.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at someone handing me a controller going, you play, with no explanation.
You get there, it makes it more fun.
But yeah, bright neon colours. So it's set to music, and you have the opportunity to pick up these little plus signs. And each time you do, they incorporate more instruments into the music, and it builds up more and more.
Every time you pick up the gold bars, it's to the rhythm of the...
Every time you jump over something or pick up something, it hits the beat and it produces a note. So it's really oddly satisfying.
Yeah, they made it was pretty much a port, but they had made like different modes and put those in as well. Bit Trip Beat, which came out on the DS, 3DS, I want to say. I think it came out on other platforms as well, but the 3DS is the one where I was like, yes, I need this because I've got 4 games. So I picked it up. Definitely worth getting. But the next game is definitely different.
I mean, it's the same basic idea in that it's a side-scrolling platformer. It's a little different in that it's both most adorable and...
creepy.
Yeah, creepy.
Well, no, it's just like your typical weeaboo kind of game.
Yeah, so it's called Montanaro, sorry. I can't talk at all. I can't pronounce anything today.
It's cool. I butcher most things.
Montanaro, which is a little Shiba Inu dog.
Yeah, that steals pantsu and Dogecoin. I'm not even going to start the argument about the pronunciation of this.
Dogi, however people pronounce it. I've heard it both.
I've heard many more butcherings than that.
Yeah,
they're coins, okay.
Yeah, all the Steam achievements for that game are the Doge.
Yeah.
However, I'm just going to pronounce it differently every time I say it.
Such achievement.
Much wow.
Yeah, many costumes, literally.
I immediately put on a pair of just deal with it sunglasses on my little doggy. The animation is absolutely beautiful on the dog. Yeah,
the whole thing, like, you can tell it's only designed by a few dedicated people, if more than if that, it might have been one guy. I mean, hats
Made
off.
by a single man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Basically, you're a little doggy running through Japan, following schoolgirls home by the looks of things. There's a lot of girls that
you never know.
Well, they're moving from city to suburbs, so I don't think
let's say that they're at least of legal age, and the dog is taking their pants.
Legal age in Japan is like 12, so it's not hard to be legal age.
I meant in the UK.
Yeah.
But, and he steals pants for health, collects coins.
There's nothing like graphic in it, it's just the girls sort of squeak and pants fly out.
Yeah,
it's your health.
It's a very amusing game, and you play with just a mouse. That's the casual kick on this. You play it with just a mouse.
Yeah, the only button you've got is jump. There's bananas that you can slip on. You can use them to springboard yourself onto the higher platform levels.
To knock crows out with, and chickens. You can fall down manholes.
Yeah, at random, a herd of chickens will run through and murder you.
It's if you knock that chicken off. But
that explains why.
You punted that chicken off the wall, and like 50 of its mates came to kick you in.
I did that a lot.
But at some point, we will be putting these together on some sort of stream once we get.
Yeah, once we get streaming set up, which we keep promising we'll do, and we will eventually.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Money we don't have. Yeah. We'll get there.
We'll get there one day. But yeah, it's the sort of game where, because it's just a one button click and it's kind of cute, I can just sit there and just play for ages, not realising what I'm doing. I can sort of zone out to it.
When I bought it, I played it for like 3 hours and then realised that I had things to do. So I was like, oh. But yeah, it's a good game. Really good. Totally recommend.
Now, going from pretty simple side-scrolling platformers to probably one of the most complex, one of the most difficult games on our list.
Easy to pick up, difficult to master, even.
Almost impossible to win.
Yeah, you will, if you play with a controller, chew the controller, you will cry, you will rage, you will swear. Binding of Isaac.
Mm-hmm. I think pretty much everyone knows about this game. They've got a Cards Against Humanity style card game as well.
Yes, I'm hoping that we could maybe have a play on that and maybe talk about that at some point.
We'll have to invite one of our friends who've got it onto the podcast so we've got an excuse to play.
Yes. I played the original on the PC. I got a Switch and decided to get Afterbirth, I think it is, for the Switch. Yes, I can't recommend it enough. If you want a game that you can pick up and put down whenever you feel like it, but still be like, oh, fucking, it's there.
And it's got a multiplayer option, which neither of the two we've spoken about previously do. You have to sacrifice a little bit of the main player's health every time you spawn in a new side character.
Yeah.
That hilariously changed. Yeah, it randomizes it, and you never know if you're going to be useful or not.
Yeah, you could be a flying bat thing that spits blood, or you could be an aborted fetus that fires poisonous tears.
Yeah, and you can sometimes just be a random character that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that just floats around there for moral support.
Yep. Yeah, and it's one of those games where if you die, you return to the very, very start of the game.
Yeah, it's got the sort of, I think it was Super Meat Boy that pioneered, well, I wouldn't say pioneered, but brought it into the limelight.
Popularised it.
Yeah, if you fuck up on a level, it just takes you back to the beginning.
Because you first look at it and you're like, oh, there's only 5 levels, that's going to be so easy. And then you die 14 times on the first level and you're like, maybe not.
Well, they're all randomly generated as well, so every single playthrough is different.
Yeah, it definitely means, unlike with Montanaro and Bit-Trip Runaway, it's pretty much consistent all the way through. You pretty much just repeat. I mean, Montanaro is just one level that is endless and you just keep jumping.
Whereas on Isaac, you could go around a ground level perfectly fine, then die, go around the same level again, and then there's a bunch of dudes waiting to beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, and it randomises the bosses as well. So you never know what you're going to get, which means it's pretty good, especially if you've got a couple of people over. People just end up zoning out, staring at people play.
Yeah, next week we're doing the cast with James.
Yes, we've got a special guest next week.
Yeah, Captain Boynty Beard, and he is incredibly good at Binding of Isaac.
Oh god, yeah. He
doesn't even have it on the Switch. He has it on the PC.
Yeah, but we just handed it on the Switch, and he just kept going.
Yeah.
We were like, wow, we suck at this game.
So, yeah, I've been playing it a lot more, trying to get good, because I feel like James is better than me, and I want to get to those levels. They look like fun.
You were playing it at work earlier, weren't you, on your break?
Oh, yeah, on my break, totally. Fucking love the Nintendo Switch. If you haven't bought one, and you've been thinking about it...
Not spons, but...
Just do it.
From one Switch game, straight on to another one. Well, one that we've talked about before... that we both absolutely love, but is also the most stressful game we've ever played. Overcooked. We've got number 2, actually, on the Switch.
If anyone from the Overcooked team ever listens, please make some Ainsley Harriott and Gordon Ramsay DLC.
Oh, God, yeah, please just do all of the celebrity chefs.
Yeah, they would fit in so well.
Nigella Lawson.
Yeah.
Just everybody. Mary Berry.
Swedish chef.
Yeah, the Swedish chef. Just everyone. Basically, think of Diner Dash on steroids and LSD at the same time.
And PCP.
So it's the basic idea of you have set food to prepare. There are set steps that you follow. So you pick up the fish, you chop it up, you fry it off, you boil some rice, you put them together on a taco, and off it goes out the door.
Fish taco? What the fuck? We need words.
But the problem is that the first few levels are fine, they're like that. It's up to 4-player multiplayer. I think 3 is the ideal people number.
We've never tried it before. We need to try it with 4.
No, we have tried it with 4 when my parents were around, and we did it for about 0.2 seconds and then went, yep, nope, can't do that. Normally the 2 of us play, which is fine, but we do struggle a little bit.
Yep.
But it goes from relatively simple, easy ones like that to separating the 2 parties. So you have to throw things at each other, pass them over, to all of a sudden it puts you on a level in a hot air balloon.
Which catches fire.
Yeah, well, first things just start sliding around, then things start catching fire. Then you crash land onto the roof of a sushi restaurant and go from cooking pasta to cooking sushi.
It's such a subtle change.
The start. That's just the start. You've got on a river that's flowing really fast, and the 2 rafts that you're on doing separate jobs keep matching up, and you have to quickly pass stuff over as
fried
it matches
chicken
up.
And fries.
And there's more hot air balloon ones, and there's magic levels that are the bane of our life.
Remember when the oven caught fire?
So I was running around. We had to make pizzas, and it was early on in the magic round. So a couple of tables moved around and locked you in certain areas, but it was fine. It was okay. We'd been making these pizzas, and everything was going a little bit crazy because it was the first level of making pizzas.
Yep.
And I got locked out of a section, and I'm busy going around. I'm chopping up tomatoes, I'm throwing cheese on dough, I'm having loads of fun. And then I just hear a squeak next to me as Cal just goes, "Charlotte, the oven's on fire and I can't put it out." And I look down at his side of the screen, and it's like a raging fire and his character just spinning in front of the fire.
I had the fire extinguisher, and I'd never used it before, so I was like, what button do I press?
The button to use things.
And the best bit was, when it finally blew up, my character just waved at it. And, that was it. That was the end of the level.
It was fantastic. I seriously recommend it for people. Especially if you've got a couple of mates around and you've had a few drinks. It's crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely insane. It's
a nice, fresh title by Team 17. Who are more well known for doing the Worms games.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that even after all those years, those guys churning out Worms games, which by the way are fucking awesome in their own right, it's good to see that they've still got that talent there and that energy to produce something so rage-inducing and so well made.
And you've always got to play the main line as well, the main storyline, because you're fighting against the unbred.
Yes.
Oh, Luna's yelling. She stopped now. Have you stopped, hon?
There we go.
Sorry, guys. Genuinely recommend Overcooked. It is the most stressful game on the list, but I'd still count it as casual. It's not a hardcore game. It's something we sit and play to have a weird, relaxed session.
Yeah, it is a really good game, don't get me wrong. It's got that it's got the hardcore and the casual vibe to it, but it's just
fun.
Yeah, it's a good game. If you just fancy playing a game and you don't want to get too invested, just throw it on, have a laugh.
Like I say, especially if you've got some mates over.
Yeah.
I don't quite think it would go very well in single player.
No, I agree with that.
Moving on though, do you want to cover the last Steam game we did first, or second to last Steam day?
Yeah, so Peggle Extreme. So this is a bit of an obscure one, because a lot of people know about the Peggle series, but only really people that bought the Orange Box and that played the earlier Valve titles, the Half-Life 2, the episodes, TF2. Peggle Extreme was sort of like a bit of like bundleware that was sort of came with to like really, I don't know, I wouldn't say promote, because it was only available at the time to people who did acquire that title. And it's got loads of Portal references, loads of Team Fortress 2 references, loads of Half-Life 2 references in it. And it's a free game, as far as I know. Anyone can pick it up on Steam now.
Yeah.
And it's like a gateway drug to the full Peggle games.
Yeah, and not only that, as soon as I saw it and it opened up with PopCap Games, I was like, oh my god, my childhood.
It's a little bit of nostalgia in there as well.
Childhood. Yeah, and it's just, again, one of those games where you can just get lost in it for a bit. You just sit, point and click. I'm sure most people have played Peggle or something similar. Basically, you've got a pea shooter at the top, and it bounces down little balls and platforms until sinking in possibly a hole at the bottom. Yep, it's better if it does go in the hole.
The bucket. Yeah. That's the term for it, the bucket.
Okay.
Yep, it's so much fun. And it's only, like I said, it's like 8 or 9 levels, maybe. But totally worth it. It will kill 10-15 minutes if you're sat waiting for an email or,
if
you're
just
bored.
Got some time.
Yeah, definitely. The mobile versions are a little bit trickier to play. I never really got on with them, but the desktop version is just spot on.
Speaking of, something I think we briefly mentioned last week was there's another game we've had a look at, or rather I have had a proper look at. Mobile game. Known as Bowls. Now, the version I've got is actually Bricks and Bowls, because it has several games packaged together, including one that's based on Peggle. Basically, the idea is you've got a bundle of balls that you shoot at bricks to break them. So the bricks will have a number on. You'll start off with a set amount of balls, but obviously you can get more playing the game. Bowls itself, I'm saying bowls way too much. There's going to be so many dirty jokes about this. Bowls itself, you are a pea shooter at the bottom, and you point and it follows straight line patterns, shoots all of the balls at once. Your aim is to break all of the bricks as they count down, and at the end of each round, the bricks get closer. So the aim is to pop them all before they obviously reach the bottom and you die. But they have one as well, I believe it's called Dropper, where it's basically Peggle, but instead of shooting one ball, it again shoots a long stream of them, all in the direction that you pointed, you tapped it. And it's one of those things that's really good on the go if you're like in public transport or sat on the toilet at work,
queue for Greggs.
In queue for Greggs, when you have a few minutes and you just want something.
It's all I've seen you playing. Like, whenever I look at you, and you're normally on your phone.
Well, you moaned at me for Pokemon Go, so...
So you got a different game.
Yeah, I got something simpler.
Instead of just putting your phone away and contributing.
Yeah.
That's fine. Well, on the subject of balls and drops and things...
It leads nicely in, does the talk of balls.
To genital jousting.
Which I'm pretty sure everybody's heard of, everybody's seen.
And only myself has purchased it. But 2 other people on my friends list.
2 other people on your friends list have bought it.
So we played some multi-peen with the Steam controllers, which handle these phallic avatars quite well.
Yeah, it was alright.
We even got on multiplayer, and I shit you not, people still play that game online.
Yeah, it didn't take us long at all to find someone to play with, did it?
We ended up with a full party.
Yeah.
Of penises. And the many games, such as football, eating sausages, the penetration game.
So, for those few people who don't know, in genital jousting, you are a penis with testicles, and you have a bum hole at the bottom of your testicles.
You've got a bum hole.
So you can eat things with the bum hole, you can put yourself in things with the penis. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And when you play in the multiplayer as well, it's a competition to see... Multi-peen. It's a competition to see who can get the longest. Yep. So you earn points for penetrating other people or for eating the most drugs, and will slowly get longer. Luna agrees. Luna thinks this is a good game. You heard it here first, guys. It has the kitty seal of approval.
Genital jousting, cat approved.
But yeah, don't worry, we managed to calm her down now. It's just... base humour. I'm not gonna lie.
It's dicks on a
childish,
screen.
but it's funny.
It is.
And you unlock costumes for them. You know, policeman, miniskirt.
See, this game's been out a very long time now, and it's also got a single player campaign.
Yeah, the single player campaign is oddly involved.
Yeah.
It's very, very well done.
Yeah, it's a penis's quest for companionship.
Mm-hmm.
Also a swan in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be a story for another time.
Yeah, we'll have to actually play story mode on.
Yep.
If we can't get the streams working, we'll have to put up a YouTube video or something.
Yeah, I'm happy to do recordings. But yeah, so they're the casual games that we got time to play. We want to play more, but it's just...
Yeah, any recommendations are welcome.
Yeah, please hit the comments up.
Please
hit the comments up, please. We need some feedback.
We see you, Mr. Sock Puppet Man, on SoundCloud. We see you listening.
He's a pretty cool guy. He makes socks puppets and doesn't afraid of anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, of the games we played then, what was your favourite?
Oh, man. I want to say Peggle Extreme.
Mm.
It's just a shot of nostalgia in the arm. It reminded me of those fantastic titles back in the day when Valve made games. Yeah, I said it. Back when Valve made first-party titles, Dota 2 doesn't count.
Okay, what do you see yourself playing the most then?
Peggle. He's straight up.
He's going to literally spend the next 3 weeks on nothing but Peggle.
Or Binding of Isaac. We'll see. Depends on the battery lasts on the Switch.
Yeah. I mean, for me, my favourite is definitely still Overcooked.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that game. It's so much fun. But I'm probably still going to keep playing Balls more.
Yeah. I was trying so hard not to make a joke then.
I'm staring at him like, I know what you want to do. Don't do it, Kyle.
Worries me that you play with balls. So, yeah, that's our casual game front. So, it's a bit of an odd place to do it, but Instagram, your boy's waiting. Still not heard back.
We're halfway through the podcast and he's immediately like...
calling him out. We want our account back. We just put pictures of cats up.
You can
hell?
see the tormentors that have been screaming all recording.
Yeah. And we've got this little baby on his lap. She just doesn't care at all. We'll post a picture of her on Facebook later.
She's fine when she's on a lap. As soon as she's off a lap, she starts screaming.
Yep. So, games. Metro Exodus launched on the Epic Store. Mm-hmm. It's full of bugs.
I mean, every AAA title has to be nowadays.
The regional pricing's broke.
Again, same.
And vast majority of the people I know are waiting for it on Steam. I, personally, have decided to take a step back and watch the monkeys fling shit and see what happens and wait till they fix all the bugs. Usually
I don't like buying big games until they've been out a few months because the bugs are just ridiculous.
Yeah, well... So what's been reported so far with the new Metro game is broken NPCs, broken enemies, they don't respond, they just stare at you, broken cutscenes, the guy who is playing it at the moment, who I know, just randomly fell through the floor when he was on the train and killed him.
This just sounds like Skyrim. Like, Skyrim's been out 9 years and still does that, mate.
That's just Skyrim's game engine now. It's just like, well, it is what it is. It's all the mods as well. Mods make it unstable, but what have these got? But yeah, other games. So, Tetris 99.
Yes, speaking of casual gaming.
Mm-hmm.
It's like casual gaming turned up to 1 million.
Casual Royale.
Yeah. I don't think anyone... When Nintendo announced they were going to do a Battle Royale game, I don't quite think anyone thought Tetris.
I'm still waiting for FIFA Battle Royale. I know I've knocked on FIFA, but I imagine that game would be more fun with like weapons and stuff.
I mean, thinking of Nintendo properties and Battle Royale, you'd expect maybe, things along with Mario. You've got Mario Party, things like that, which are already along that sort of line. Tetris? I mean, I've played Tetris Friends before, which is basically the same thing online. You're matched up with a random other player and you play competitive Tetris. Mm-hmm. I don't know how it's going to be with a whole bunch of people trying to do that all at once. It sounds like an absolute mess.
After recording, I will be downloading this, and I will be playing it. Because I'm just scrolling through now on my phone. This looks epic.
Yeah.
And I don't use that word, like, lightly. Yeah, it's going to be
It does
great.
look good, but like I say, it's not quite what I was expecting to come out this year.
This particular website, which will remain unnamed, a particular company that make a game, you know the one about Minecraft, Hunger Games, Fortnite. You just scroll through it and it's just full of Fortnite adverts. Like,
while talking about Tetris 99.
It's like, get off my Battle Royale turf. Yeah, what about you? Is there any games that you've wanted to play? Any games you've been playing recently?
I mean, not really. The big things that I'm waiting for aren't due to come out for a while.
Skyrim 2!
Not quite, but yeah. Let's say most of the stuff is a long way off. I know it's got a long time coming. So there's nothing too much. I would like to try and play the new Fallout. Again, I'm
76.
waiting. Yeah. I'm waiting a little while for it all to settle down.
We're waiting a while yet.
I've heard mixed reviews. And I mean, I am a big fan of, Skyrim. One of the big feedbacks I've got is that the story is where it's lacking, but the open world and the do what you want is still there. That's done relatively well, so I'd like to have a look, because that's what I lean to anyway.
Let's hope they don't kill the modding community further.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
They're like launchers and...
I know.
This is why I got the Steam version.
I know. But, yeah, I'd like to have a play on it at some point. But otherwise, at the moment, I'm pretty happy with where I am. I've got my old reliables that I always fall back on. Every now and then, you'll see me open up Minecraft again. And
Skyrim.
Of course, Skyrim. But, yeah, I mean, at the moment, there's nothing coming out soon that I'm that into. I mean, Cyberpunk, obviously. All that sort of stuff's ages away.
Yeah.
It's miles away, so there's no point getting too excited about stuff until it's coming up on release.
Trying so hard right now not to be excited.
You know what I mean, though? I'm one of those people that get stuck in their ways pretty easily. I mean, the stuff I'm most looking forward to is upcoming movies at the minute, which...
It's not really games.
No, not really.
That's fair. Well, moving on from them kind of games then, because we covered the games we were excited about last week. So, what about tabletop? Why don't we update the guys on the agonising show, which is our campaign at the minute?
Well, do you want to update them as to what's been going on? I'm the DM, so I don't want to let anything slip.
Fine. So, we've entered the Nine Hells through some fuzzy, green, mossy portal with loads of eyeballs.
Rewind a little bit. What level characters are you?
8.
What was the name of that creature you just fought?
Chris.
No.
I don't remember its name.
It was a Rakshasa.
That's the one.
This is a CR13 creature. You were not meant to have a hope in hell of killing it.
Yeah, we did it.
With some help, but you did it.
It was my world building that did it.
It was. I managed to tie that in for you.
Yeah, I was really proud. So to give these guys a bit of context on what the hell we're talking about right now, like in this D&D campaign, like Charlotte's given us a bit of free rein to sort of add what we want into the world within reason.
Yeah, I mean D&D is about collaborative world building, so...
Yeah, so my paladin, in the order, as he is, with his purple armour, was in the Nine Hells, and I decided to build this up as, we've heard this rumour that we lost a Marine down there like 300 years ago from the Sentinel.
No one ever said Marine because it's a paladin, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
We lost a man.
You see where I'm going with this. Essentially, I managed to wrangle the Doom Marine into
D&D.
Based on his Knight Sentinel version, which is sort of like a bit of background lore for those people that spent at least a femtosecond away from ripping the entrails out of a demon to look at some of the nice pretty things around those levels. And and he goes to this Rakshasa.
Rakshasa, yeah.
Yes. And he just puts the sword straight through it and sticks it into the ground, then grabs it by both halves of the entry wound and rips the thing in two.
I mean, admittedly, I'd played a little round with the stats of the Rakshasa just to give you guys a fighting chance. I'd given you all specialised weapons that technically aren't magical damage, but I allowed them to count as. They're imbued with cold iron and silver to fight, obviously, the fiends. So I allowed the damage from them to work. So you guys have gotten down pretty low. I mean, they're not overly hit point heavy, because as you learn, they prefer to use spells than...
They're like a glass cannon, but fuzzy.
Yeah, not quite. They've still got more health than you. But you guys managed to get it down pretty low, to a point where after I rolled the initial attack from the other paladin, the thing was down to like 19 health. So when you carried on describing, I was just like, fuck it, we'll go with it.
He'd be dead.
Yeah, the rules of cool applied in that situation.
Yeah, and then he didn't even talk to us. He like stared at us. And
you said he's mute.
Yeah, that was the great thing. He'd raged himself to the point where he could no longer speak. And then he's become this like... You've got this reputation in the Nine Hells of being a menace. Just absolutely sort of...
They refer to him as the Beast.
And then I was like, oh, he's got a name. Again, plug in more like Doom Wolfenstein. And a little bit of MHA, I guess, because I'd called him Stain Blaskovitz, which is... Blaskovitz is actually the surname of the canon, like, of what the Doom Marine's name should be, because they said that he's like a follow-on. If you played the Wolfenstein games, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and anyone else will just be like, what the fuck is this tool talking about?
Yeah.
I'm talking about demons in Wolfenstein, I'm talking about Doom Marine's lineage, and just read the Doom Wiki. I'm not going into it right here, because we'll be here all night.
Yeah, we'll be here a while.
But do it, it's good.
But yeah, basically, you guys have been fighting this Rakshasa. You'd initially fallen to dominate person.
Not fun. I was trying so hard to like cheese my rolls and like use useless things like, oh, I'm going to put bubble on myself and then waste a go with that. Because I was conscious of like, I could probably kill one of these right now.
Yep. Which was the point. It tried to use plane shift on Valkyria, but failed. She managed to make that save, which is probably lucky for her. But we had something very cool. So a couple of the characters have got these rings, which have different rules, but basically have the same core ability of letting you change one letter in a spell name and cast it. Now, when you do so, I basically come up with the rules of how that spell's going to work. But I have to keep in mind the caster's original intent. So it could be good, could be bad. They don't know. I just have to keep in mind what the plan was initially, what your goal was. And her ring she used to cast Eldritch Beast instead of Eldritch Blast. Which didn't go very well. I decided that the creature could be up to a CR of her level. She could either summon 2 CR4s or 1 CR8. I let her have free reign on that. She chose the stronger one. I then had her roll on a random table as to which creature it was going to be. Obviously, Eldritch, it was going to be in Aberration. There were 3 choices in the quick sheet that I pulled up for that at CR8. So she didn't have a whole lot of choices, but she rolled it to make it random. And she pulled a Mind Flayer Alchemist. And then I got her to flip a coin to see whether or not she had any sort of control over this creature. And she did not. So it immediately used its Mind Blast to stun the party and throw everyone away from it. I think there was 2 of you that made the save, one being the Rakshasa, who immediately plane shifted the thing. So, thank God, because that would have been... those things eat brains.
Yeah.
I had to explain to these guys, because you're all relatively new to D&D, and I was like, no, you don't understand. This is bad.
Well, what about my ring?
Yeah, so you've now got a ring from one of the other characters, which does the same thing. And, tell them the spell you're trying to cast.
Thunderous Shite.
It's not the first time they've done this to me. Even Luna's grumpy about it. Luckily, the Rakshasa saved that one.
Otherwise, there'd have been poop everywhere.
It's not the first time you guys have cast that spell. I don't know.
I am going to continue until I get a cast on it.
You've succeeded once before.
Well, it wasn't good enough. I can't remember it, so clearly it wasn't good enough.
That's a cautionary tale about giving your players weapons that sound like loads of fun when you read about other DMs doing them.
And then they realise straight away they're going to make it defecate itself and...
Because that's literally the only thing that spell could do. That's the only thing I could think of. It lets out a massive fart and poops its pants. It's mildly uncomfortable. It's mildly embarrassed. It's still going to fucking kill you.
But at least I ain't got shitty kecks. You know what I mean?
But yeah, you guys ended up meeting up with a couple of different characters from the Hells. Now, our warlock, her patron, is actually a fiend. So you guys have a contact.
I want to stop you right there.
Okay.
Because I caught on to something that I don't think anyone else in the room would have caught on to, probably because they don't live with you.
Yeah, because it's a massive self-insert.
Yeah, you stuck your own fucking character from another campaign in ours.
I stuck my own D&D character in there. She's different. She's pre me playing her. So...
Still fucking badass as fuck. I mean, Jesus. Got some thorny vine shit to rip a fiend apart. You got fucking vines coming out of his eyeballs, for crying out loud.
So, in a campaign I play and I have Dylan, she's definitely the victim of D&D storyitis, where it's almost impossible to describe her story without someone thinking you're clinically insane and not knowing how the fuck you've made those jumps. So, long story short, I was given literally 30 minutes notice of joining a campaign to make a character in a homebrew. So I had no idea the setting. All I know is that we were starting on a island country that everyone spoke Draconic, and magic was only allowed by female characters, and it was seen as very important you could be enlightened and blah, 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 blah. So I decided that I wanted to play Druid because it was a nice all-rounder. I didn't know what the other characters were. Mm-hmm. It was about my third character I'd ever made as well. So I wanted something middle ground, all-rounder. We'll see how it goes. Didn't know, like, say anything, so I just threw together a backstory of I'm an amnesiac. I woke up in the forest about 3 years ago, learned about my powers, left, found a random village where they looked after me, helped me a little bit, and one of the children there started naming me after her doll, Dylan. So the name stuck, and I went on and joined the party and blah, 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 blah. Quickly into the campaign, we were having issues with my character, with weird random magic effects happening and being targeted by a cult who revealed a symbol on my, because she's a tiefling, on one of my horns, which was a rune of sealing. Some sort of demon. So there was much panic. There was a lot more issues with random magic. For example, freezing time for a week. I was frozen, but I was still conscious. So for a full week, I was conscious, trapped inside my body, screaming, basically.
That's sort of like when I get a nasty call at work and I have to sit there and internally scream.
But yeah, lots of bad things. Eventually we managed to make it to a temple where they would try and make contact with the creature that was sealed inside me. Now, I didn't know whether it was sealed inside me by good or by bad, so we had no idea where to go. But this ritual allowed me to talk to it. And it revealed itself to be a fallen angel named Cadriel. And slowly over time, it was revealed that Cadriel was actually my wife. I lived in Dis and was part of a very important family there. We were married several years prior. Her being a fallen angel has a bunch of people trying to constantly vie for power and didn't particularly like her. She'd fallen because she basically was sick of the gods' bullshit in dealing with mortals, and so she got cast down, lost her grace, blah, blah, blah.
Kind of reminds me of Tyrael when he falls from Diablo 3.
Yes, very much so. When they made their last attack, they kidnapped Dylan and basically tortured her until her soul shattered into pieces. At the time, luckily, Cadriel had just managed to reach Dylan, and she bonded herself to Dylan's soul in order to hold it together, so to keep her alive. The process of doing so is how I ended up in the forest on the material plane. So all this time I'd had Cadriel inside of me, hence why these random magic bursts were going off, and had no idea. I thought it was a demon, I was very worried. That sort of calmed us down. Eventually we came across a special magic item, which basically there's a set of books. One contains all the good in the world, one contains all the evil. You can read it, get huge bonuses, blah blah blah. We found the good book, and it was suggested that if I opened the book, it may help either sort of release Cadriel, or it would do something. In the end, it not only healed my soul, but restored her grace, so she was now a full angel, but she doesn't have her own form, she doesn't have her own body, she's still stuck in my head. And it's this whole story, so I was having flashbacks, obviously, to our time together prior, blah blah blah. I absolutely loved that story that my DM created for me. So when it came to having a warlock who had chosen the Fiend patron, and said basically just do what you want with that, I decided to incorporate Cadriel. I really liked her character. I thought she worked really well in the setting. Sorry, Mickey, I have stolen your character. But yes, she seemed like she would be a good fit. When you guys realised you were decided to go into the Hells, I realised that I would have to build a lot more around her. And so basically I've set this before all the stuff that kicked off with Dylan. So Dylan is a full level 20 character in this, not a level 10, which she is in the actual campaign we play, because she's rediscovering her powers at this point. So she's got all sorts of abilities. She's a level 20 druid, you know. And yes, sort of got a chance to play her as a lot darker, because Dylan's quite a mothering character in game. She has a hot temper when she wants to, but she generally just wants to look after people. She really cherishes life in general. Obviously, being in hell and being from hell and having different memories and backstory, she's a lot darker. So I've tried to play that up a bit more. I know, Luna. But yeah, so I had pulled them into the campaign basically to make setting up a little bit easier for me. So we had Dylan go and pick you up. You were attacked on the way back into the centre of Dis. So I got a chance to show off her power and basically show she's not a force to be reckoned with in general.
Not that we'd have, messed with her anyway.
You're in hell, you shouldn't. They literally keep telling you don't trust anybody, so I was like, someone's going to do something stupid. But you've now been given basically a quest to... Because the whole reason you're in the Hells is to find a missing friend, who basically it was a guy who initially was playing with us in the beginning of the campaign, but unfortunately his shifts got changed and he couldn't make it anymore. Now his shifts are maybe about to change so that he can, hence this whole storyline, and we'll see where things go from there. But you've been given the... Well, you know he's in the Hell somewhere. You don't know where. And Cadriel's given you the information that there is a scrying orb, extremely powerful item, that some nearby liches have gained into their arsenal. And they have been tricking mortals from the material plane to basically come and play with them, we'll say.
Let's not give any more spoilers away on that one.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting.
For you, maybe. For us, it's going to be hell.
You're in hell. Well, I don't know what you expected.
A better response than that to that pun. It's okay. So, I think we're going to leave it there, because the cat's crying.
I do apologise. She's been very loud all session.
Yep, and advice for next week.
Yeah, do you want to pick this one up, since it was your idea?
Yeah, okay. So, single player is just as important as multiplayer. Make sure that you're focusing on yourself and your own personal campaign before you go wading into someone else's. So, next week's about mental health. We talk about a lot about how games affected our mental health, both helped and hindered. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure to always look after the people around you, which is important.
But if you're struggling yourself, it's okay to look after you for a bit. You don't have to fix everybody else.
And just remember, you could be wailing at someone online, telling them to get good, telling them to do a flip off a tall building, or that their mom's fat, or whatever, but you don't know what they're going through at the other side. That's not always the case. It could genuinely be an arsehole, but sometimes they're not, and maybe they're just frustrated, and I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
Yeah.
But yeah, stay safe, and next week we've got a special guest. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, shout out to James. There'll be links obviously everywhere when we get that episode out. We're recording these slightly out of order because we've actually already recorded that episode at this point.
Don't you ruin the continuity. That's how you blow up the internet. Sorry, ignore that bit.
But yeah, so it's kind of weird because we're actually recording this Saturday and it's being uploaded. Obviously, you guys are listening to it tomorrow, Sunday.
So we'll be asleep when this goes out.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be. We're recording this at like midnight. It's been a long day. But yeah, like I say, hopefully it wasn't too incoherent for you guys today. Other than that, I think we've covered everything we wanted to. Instagram, please.
Yeah.
Please.
I think we should just start a new one. /22.
/2cats2.
Yeah, yeah. We'll go with that.
We'll figure something out.
2/cats. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks so much for listening again, guys. I'm going to see if I can try and get Meowsalot to say goodbye as well.
Say bye, Luna.
Say bye-bye.
Nope, it's not happening.
Oh, hey! So that's bye from Luna, and bye from us.
See you later.
Bye.